Hello everyone, this is Tim, and today I'm going to be talking about a little old-school Renaissance game called Basic Fantasy. Now, this game has a sort of a weird reputation because it's known to be sort of like the redheaded stepchild of the OSR games, because it doesn't emulate a game as closely as some of the other ones do. Like Labyrinth Lord emulates Basic and Expert to Dungeons & Dragons, and Osric goes for a close emulation of first edition AD&D, and so forth. Swords and Wizardry is the white box. This does its own thing. It goes for the spirit of the game without delving into all the specifics. It doesn't worry about the little things. It just goes for the overall intent, the spirit, a game of adventure and action and danger and violence. And that's what it goes for, that old school feel. And I think it does it pretty well. I've looked over this book before. This is actually my second copy. I gave my first copy to a friend on YouTube, John Skankin Spitz. I'll put his links down below. He ran a Change in the Laws campaign for me. But Basic Fantasy does what it says it's going to do. You could play a fantasy game with this one book probably for the rest of your life. There's enough material in here, books, spells, character generation, equipment. Everything you need is in this one book. I like RPG systems that are self-contained. There's not a lot to them. This thing comes in at like 153 pages, and that's including the OGL license at the end. So it's not a huge book. It's everything you need. And what's great about something this cheap in print is that it wouldn't be very hard for you at all to go on Amazon, order 6 copies for you and your friends, and boom, you can give everyone a book. It's cheap, affordable, it does what it says it's going to do, and it looks at some of the older games and fixes a few things, basically using the 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons OGL. So you have Ascending Armor class, for those that never liked THAC0. You have race and class that are split, for those that didn't like the original version of like Basic and Expert Dungeons & Dragons, the Rule Cyclopedia, all those, all the box sets. So it does some things that are cool, and it doesn't really have a ton of extra useless mechanic talk. It gives you what you need, and the rest of it, you're on your own. Role-playing, you can add role-playing to anything. You want to come up with your own classes, your own races. It's not that hard to do. In fact, if you want some free downloads, check out the links down below. There are a ton, just an absolute embarrassment of riches of Basic Fantasy stuff that you can get for free online, PDFs, and there's information on the forums. Just check it out. It's a great little system that can basically do whatever you want it to do. If you want to run a fantasy game but you don't like a lot of crunch, you really can't go wrong with Basic Fantasy. I've been thinking a lot about trying to run a Big Brothers Big Sisters sort of campaign with my local group, but I don't know if that's going to fly. But if I ever do, I'm really thinking about just doing what I just said. Buy a bunch of copies of this, pass them out to the kids, and have a lot of fun. So we'll see if I ever do that. I'll make sure I'll let you guys know. But yeah, that's Basic Fantasy. Here's the Morgan's Fort. And you'll see a sort of a stylized look to all the books. They have the same outline there. And it's black and white art. It's not going to be a very colorful experience inside, but honestly, I prefer black and white art in my RPGs for the most part. Sometimes a color art, I don't know, it looks a little like some kid went crazy with a marker or a crayon, and I kind of like that old black and white style, like the AD&D, Monster Manual, Player's Handbook, DMG, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, picked all this up on the cheap. If you have any Amazon gift cards you want to burn up, just go on Amazon. And, look at that. Look how thick that is. That is enough material to last you a long time. I know if I ever run it, I'm going to have an embarrassment of material to use and to incorporate into a campaign. But check it out if you want a bare bones RPG with tons of monsters. I think there's like 3 or 4 monsters per page in the back. Various black and white RPG art. You can't get wrong with this. So spells, monsters, everything you need in this one book. Lots of free stuff. You don't even have to buy it. If you don't want to buy it, just go download it for free. So check out Basic Fantasy if you're interested in doing something rules light. And you really can't go wrong with this. It's probably the cheapest thing in print that you can find RPG-wise these days. All right, everybody. Let me know what you think of Basic Fantasy if you get a chance to look at it, and I'll talk to you later.